I've had a ton of nightmares in my life, as with everybody, I'm assuming. And so I know and you know exactly what it feels like when you get to that point in the nightmare and the dream and things just get so over the top. Like something has gone so incredibly bad that you're like, oh wait, this isn't real. And you just snap right there, you snap back up. You wake up and everything's fine and you take that giant sigh of relief because you realize whatever you were just experiencing, it was all in a fantasy world. It's you're not gonna have to deal with anything that was just going on. And I really have tried today, and I'm not. I can't even exaggerate. I've tried to actually wake up today. I've tried to actually wake up because there was a point where I felt like there's just no way. I've sat here and asked myself multiple times, what the fuck just happened? All day. Every single time on ESPN, every single time on NBA TV that they say the passing of Kobe Bryant, the death of Kobe Bryant and Gigi, his daughter. Every single time, I just silently whisper to myself, what the fuck just happened? And I want to apologize ahead of time because I don't actually know much about what this video is going to be because I've never dealt with any kind of loss or death close to me in my life. Like, as crazy as it is, that's just more confusion for me, trying to figure out how somebody I have never met, somebody I've only ever been in the same premises as, like, one time, and that was during All-Star Weekend. We've been in the same gymnasium, but other than that, never came in contact with this person yet. This impact has to feel, it has to feel very similar to losing somebody close to you. This, I can't imagine it getting a whole lot worse than what I felt today, and maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I don't know. This video is going to be about Kobe and what he meant to my life as a fan and the impact that he had on my life. Sort of reflecting on his career a bit and even post-career, the little bit that we, tragically now have gotten to see. And then just talking about life and death, because I never get to talk about anything that matters on this platform outside of basketball. And on a day like today, you do realize, actually, yeah, when some of the players say at the end of the day it's just a game, and you might think, oh, they're not taking it seriously. Like, no, at the end of the day, it actually is just a game, and there's much bigger shit. And, wow. I've never witnessed anything like the last 24 hours, and it's crazy because I always wonder that when I go to sleep at night. I'm always like, well, I wonder what the next day is going to bring. I wonder if it's going to be like dramatically different than whatever I just experienced, and I always wonder that. And just last night, my very last tweet about Kobe Bryant, it was actually just like everyone else's in reference to LeBron James, and SportsCenter tweeted out a video of their friendship. It's a video that already existed, and just the mutual respect that these two legends have for each other and everything that they've gone through in their careers and how they got close. And I quote tweeted it, and I was like, the respect that these two have for each other is just cool as fuck, because you forget that those are two entities and their fan bases had never previously got along. But when it's just them, when it was, damn, bro, when it was just them, it was just a whole vibe. And yeah, that happens. LeBron goes on to pass him, obviously, on the all-time scoring list, but that's not even the point, obviously, here. It's the interviews and the things that LeBron said about Kobe before and after the game, and it's haunting watching it now, because it's almost like if you know that LeBron interview, if you didn't know that it happened before today, you could replace it, and it would seem like giving somebody their roses when it was too late for them to smell them. But no, he was praising Kobe while he was still here, as did a lot of people, and that's one thing I am very happy that we've been able to see. We've been able to see him and Shaquille O'Neal work out the differences that they had early on in their career. Steven Jackson posted a video of when he was still here, and just there's so many instances where even when he retired, everybody was able to say their thank you to Kobe and show how much we appreciated him. And LeBron goes and writes Mamba Forever on his shoes last night because it was pretty clear that he was going to pass him in the all-time scoring list. And now this all just seems like some kind of cruel joke, because so much of what happened before this event seems like something that could have easily happened afterwards. And passing him in his hometown, Philly, and oh my goodness. My last video that I posted on this channel was about Kobe Bryant. You can't make any of this stuff up. It was about Kobe Bryant. It was a part of the Did He Quit series. And the other part you can't make up is I removed that video before Kobe passed away. I removed it at midnight last night because I was going through, I was looking at it, and I just felt like there was a little bit more I could have done with the visuals. I wasn't as happy with that one as I was with the other two. I just wasn't as happy with the product. And so I removed the video. But prior to that, making that video involved a ton of research, so I wasn't happy with the visuals of it, but it involved me spending some hours just sifting through that specific event in Kobe's career and looking at things he said then and things he said years later, and going through footage of not just that game, but him in that series, and looking at his 50-point performance and some of the shots he was hitting, and just remembering like, wow, this guy really played the game that we loved one time, and he was damn good at it. And that whole process right there, that took probably a day or two, and I've done that many a times for Kobe in post-career, and looking at in retrospectives or looking at his career. There's plenty of videos with that. And before that, I was growing up with him. I was watching him as a kid, and I can't explain mourning because I've never gone through it. I can't explain grieving because I've never gone through it. Can't explain loss. Again, I've never gone through it. But I guess all that has added up from just moments throughout my life, throughout the last 10 to 15 years, to where this tragedy happens, and it's just so damn sudden. There was no sickness. There was no nothing. There was hey, there's some great games on today. It's Sunday. We're going to see this new guy play, Zion, who's coming in and trying to make his mark on the league. And we're going to see the Rockets and see if James Harden can turn it around. And instead, you get home and you're greeted with a tragedy. And it just continues to go so much deeper, far deeper than I could ever explain, because even with his daughter, Gigi, I was really looking forward to what she had in life. And I mean that genuinely. I'd seen how much she loved basketball, and I know the WNBA could definitely use a spark like that to pike interest. Let's just be real. That's something that we were all waiting for. Kobe didn't have a son, and he had a daughter who, if you've seen the Jimmy Kimmel skit, which they've played a lot today, always said like she's going to be the one to carry on the legacy. And as she's grown, you've seen, it hasn't been like super public, but you've seen snippets like we had a couple of weeks ago, man. Just a couple of weeks ago, Kobe's at a game with his daughter, just breaking down the game. And yeah, you hear the commentator talk about how much she loved that. And it was just crazy. Who would have fucking known? Through my own life, Kobe has he's literally been such a big part of it. Aside from when I go on to become a YouTuber and I have to do a ton of research on his career, and I have to make arguments for him or against him or whatsoever, it goes back before I was ever a part of this at all, before I was a part of this culture at all, back when I was literally just a fan and that was it. And I saw the clip of Doc Rivers today and him choking up, and that's just extremely difficult to watch because that brings me back to the days where my team was battling with him. The 2010 series, the 2008 series, even after 2010, thinking that we were going to see him in the finals again. That group of years from about 2008 to I would say probably about 2012, realistically 2013, that used to consume me as a fan, just wondering if we were going to be able to beat him this year, how we would match up. That would literally consume me. The Lakers and Celtics thing, which only ended up happening twice, of course, in that time, but I remember even after he sent us home in 2010, he won a championship at our expense. I think probably about a year later, as we were getting into the 2011 playoffs, to kind of get hyped for the playoffs, I rewatched Game 7 of that series, and even though he didn't end up having the best game in Game 7, I still that inspired me. I remember to go outside and work on some of the shots that he was taking, which probably wasn't the best idea since I don't know. I don't think his field goal percentage was up there that day, but that's just the kind of impact that Kobe had on me and tons of kids around the world and tons of basketball fans around the world and people in the NBA today. That's just, we grew up with that. It was integrated. If you were a basketball fan, then these things were just intertwined. And so post-career, I've particularly, even just outside of research for videos, I've taken interest in just listening to him. I read his entire, well, not his book. He didn't write the book, but the book that was written about him called Showboat. Read that entire book, all about his life, all about his career. Watched his documentaries, the one that he made a couple of years ago. What was that, about 2015? His sit down with Ahmad Rashad. The interview he did recently, I can't remember exactly with who it was, but this one is, you know, completely post career, after retirement, and I just loved listening to him talk because he really did come off as one of the most intelligent people on this planet, one of the most articulate and passionate and genuine people on this planet. And so post career, even if it was just nothing to do with basketball, I just wanted to hear some of the wisdom. I just wanted to I just wanted to see if there was a gem there that I could pick up. I'm always looking for that type of stuff. And to think that somebody who was providing that type of service, even after, like, it's the transition, right? It's like you're a basketball fan and he provides a service for you there, and it's extremely delightful. And then your post career, there's, as you grow up, it's like he's growing up too, and now he has even more to give, and just suddenly just gone. I honestly have no clue what this process is like, because I don't want to ramble for 40 minutes about every intricate detail and every moment that Kobe has showed up in my life. But hopefully you get the point of a little bit of what I'm trying to say, is that as I've grown up, Kobe has been there in some shape or form. And I guess even just now, I'm finding more clarity about why I feel the way I do today, why it feels like I lost somebody that I've actually interacted with. This is a celebrity death, but this is so close to home, uncomfortably close to home. Seeing the community today was just heartbreaking, but also a testament to what he was able to accomplish in his short 41 years on this planet. Because pretty much every player today, you could see it on their faces. If they weren't visibly sobbing, you could still see it. You could feel the vibes. You hear the respect from the crowd. Seeing people that he really went to war with, like Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan, you're just reading the expressions on their faces. Words really can't describe, if you've been following this league and these players this long, what today really felt like. And I'm still at a loss for words, because there's I had my friend text me, actually, my friend that I grew up watching Kobe with. He was a Magic fan, so he caught the work in 2009, and he texted me today, and he's never very outwardly emotional. I don't think I've ever seen him have any kind of emotional reaction, but he texted me and he was just like, I've always wondered when someone's death would make me feel some type of way, and this is the one. And it's crazy because, especially this is a kid that I grew up with, and knowing how he is, it was kind of interesting to get that from him. But also I relate to that so much because, again, I've never lost anybody in my life. But I've always seen loss everywhere around me. I've seen loss, whether it's been in other tragedies or back in school. A couple of times in school, I had people in my class, or friends that lost a parent, and I would always just think, like, wow, like that's such a loss is just such a crazy thing. It's final. Nobody knows what happens after this. We all, people have their theories and respect to everything, but nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. But because I never experienced it, not even so much as like a grandparent, right? Or somebody that you would expect at this age, that I'm going to be 25 this year, you would expect I've lost one thing by now. And I just never have. So I used to think, like, at a certain point you start thinking, man, this really might just be something that happens to other people. And the closest thing I've had to mourn in life was Paul Walker's death. That's the closest thing, because I grew up with the Fast and the Furious franchise. So when he died, I was sad, but man, it's nothing like this. It's nothing like this, because that too was sudden, but I hadn't been following Paul Walker and doing all types of research on him in every moment of his life. It just didn't hit. And you can't fake when something hits, right? When something like this happens, you can't fake when something hits. Maybe you can fake it outwardly, but with what you're feeling, you can't fake the feeling. And yeah, the gap between these two is so crazy. Like I said at the beginning, every single time I see somebody say Kobe, the passing of Kobe Bryant, I can't explain how surreal that is. I can't explain how it just doesn't feel like a thing. He was still so vibrant. He was still doing things. He still had so much more to give. He went and won an award for that short film. after his amazing career. So you're like, there's still so much more. And you listen to his interviews and you're like, there's just so much more we're going to be picking up from this guy forever. And you look at the pictures from his career and all the energy that radiates from those and all those moments. And to somehow, I don't know if I ever will be able to, I'll tell you, because Paul Walker passed in 2013. And sometimes I see a picture of him and I'm like, oh, he's like, is he really gone? You know, it's like, I can't believe he's gone. I don't know if there will ever be a day where I come to terms where it's like Kobe Bryant really isn't here anymore, especially with how sudden this was. If he had gotten sick and if it was a gradual thing, you have time to interact with a little bit. But his family, like I said, when I was just talking about how I used to see all this loss growing up around me gradually, not all the time. I came up in a good area, but gradually you would see loss happen and you would just think, man, that's something that happens to other people, and I can't fathom that pain. And I truly can't fathom the pain that family is enduring, to be Vanessa, to be the girls. I can't even imagine. They've lost a sister, a daughter, a husband, a father. And this is what has always struck me whenever a tragedy happens, whenever anything happens in the world like this. And that's the thing that always strikes me, is like, how do the people deal with that? How do you deal with that for the rest of your life? How do you wake up with that for the rest of your life? How do you ever come back from that? I always wonder. And that's about as far, I guess that has to go with, like, you know, having empathy for people and really trying to understand it, but you can't. That's the other thing that's so confusing about death, is you literally can't understand what this does to somebody, or what this does to the people that are actually close to the situation. You can't understand it. There's not words for it. And that's why death really, really fucks with me. All the time. Like I said, I have a basketball channel, so you guys will you never hear this from me. You never hear anything that I'm thinking outside of sports, but death really, really fucks with me, because I'm looking at how fast time goes. And especially now, this really hits home now that today has happened. I woke up the other day, and when I opened my eyes in the morning, the first thing I thought was like, damn, bro, it's been 10 years since I started high school. Like, I started high school 10 years ago, and so many people have grown up and gotten into their own lives and moved on, and people have families now, and some people are in jobs, and it's just so much stuff that's taking all of our time. And time is so precious, because it's the one thing that no matter what you do, it just doesn't come back. It's so valuable, because no matter what you do, you can't get a second back. You can't get a fraction of a second back. And so if you spend your life one way, or let's say you're born in a certain situation and you have to spend a certain portion of your life one way, trying to make things better or whatever it is, that's why death fucks with me so much, because it can just happen just like it did today. It just happened for no reason at all to anybody, good, bad. Somebody sharing their gifts with the world, somebody sharing terror with the world, making the world a worse place. Anybody, bro, anybody. It could be the best of us, it could be the worst of us. And today it was truly the best of us. And sometimes I'm thinking, like, man, you know, I do this thing. I talk about basketball, and people come to listen to me, and you know, or insult me, either one. You know, but either way they come. And it's something that I've been able to start building my life with. But then there's days when I'm like, wow, this really does take. So there's sacrifices that come with it, obviously. I'm like, there's so much time that goes into this one thing. And what happens when you hit a rough patch? What happens when you feel like, wow, why am I not doing this? Why am I not spending time with this person? What if something happens to this person tomorrow? And the last time I talked to them or reached out to them or you know, linked with them was so long ago. But then you're like, okay, but life is also pulling me this way, because if I put my time here, I'm not going to be successful at this. And if I put my time, you know, over there, then I'm not going to be successful at the other thing. And so it's just like life is just pulling you in so many directions, all while we're all headed to the same destination. Some are going to get there sooner, some are going to get there later, but we're all headed to an ending. You know what I mean? And when you see it happen to somebody, it could be anybody, somebody who inspired you, somebody who was actually close to you, anybody, just somebody that meant something to you. When you see it and it gets close, you're like, wow, this is a very real thing. It's more than just oh, my precious time. Like, this is anybody can get it. And I'm sorry if I'm ranting. Again, like I said, I have no idea how to process this. I have no idea how to deal with this. I don't have any experience in this arena. But yeah, Kobe left a lot here for us. He left so much here for us. Even if it's an interview, or not an interview, but like an interview. Yeah, it's an interview, or he's just sitting down talking with somebody and he's talking about his career, whether he's talking about his career or not, whatever it is, there's gems there. And he says, he drops so much wisdom. And even though he's gone, there's still so much we can learn from him, you know? There's still so much we can learn. Because one of the clips I shared today, which I actually saw a friend share, and it's so cliche, right? It's so cliche until it's backed up, until you actually see it in action. And in the clip, he's talking about just life being so short and why trudge through it being miserable or this, that, or the other thing, which can be very much easier said than done, absolutely. But again, as we see, the universe does not discriminate. And so when you watch that clip of him saying like, hey, you don't know how much time you get, but time is basically, it's the essence of what he said, is time is moving forward. So you might as well be doing something useful with it. You might as well be putting one foot in front of the other and moving forward regardless of the situation. Because at the end of the day, the clock runs out and that's it. And if you were to watch that interview before he was gone, you could say, oh, well, he's fortunate and he's talking from a position where he's fortunate and he has the luxuries and this, that, and the other thing. Okay, cool, but now he's gone. And he made the absolute most of his 41 years. The absolute most. He had dreams for a certain part of his life, and he went and got damn near all of them. And he had more dreams, and he had more goals, and he was starting another section of his life, and those obviously aren't going to happen now. But just little gems that he dropped like that, which are things that, maybe they're things that, you know, it's not like they haven't been said before, but they're true. We can 100% see right now that they're true. And he's somebody that can be listened to, because regardless of how you felt about his career or whatever, which I don't think is really important right now, you can't argue with the fact that he found a way. You cannot argue with the fact that he found a way. When you're talking about knees being messed up and fingers being messed up, but oh wait, I have to win a championship this year, so what, to hell with those. Hey, that's the type of guy I'd like to listen to. I think so. I think he knows what he's talking about. And so, all in all, as you can clearly hear, his career has meant, and it just Kobe meant more to me than just playing basketball, because I kept up with him after he was playing, and I looked forward to continue to keep up with him and what his daughter was going to do, because that was genuinely one of the more interesting things developing. You know, looking at her passion and love for the game, you really wondered where that was going to go. Knowing who her father is and knowing the way genes work, you're like, man, that's going to be something serious. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And I don't know. I just had to come on here and talk about Kobe and rant about Kobe and what his life was, because it's gone. It was just gone so quickly. 1 minute I was a kid in middle school watching him win a championship, and the next minute he's just gone. And it's so crazy because lately on Twitch I've been streaming the Legends League, and you guys know I was using the 10 Lakers and I was using Kobe and Gasol, and people are like, oh, you're a Celtics fan, why are you using the Lakers? And that never really got that hasn't really mattered so much with Kobe, LeBron, or Michael. You know, that's why if you followed me, I've never changed my profile pictures on either channel from the three heads, the Michael, Kobe, and LeBron, because I've always been so fascinated with their careers, and LeBron's is still going, and of course his is just fascinating as hell, to see how he's still going in year 17. And that's even more haunting that Kobe's last tweet was after LeBron passes him, and he basically gives him a pat on the back, and he's like, keep moving, keep going forward, keep taking the game forward. And to see LeBron get off the plane today, that video, and see his reaction after everything that he did and said last night, and to see how we were all so blindsided by it, that's just another thing that's really kind of broken me today. And one of those, it's just so crazy to believe, one of those titans is gone. But beyond that, again, being a Celtics fan, I've never had that barrier between me and great players. Of course, when Kobe was playing the Celtics in the finals back then, it was probably on site, probably. But as everything gone, same thing with LeBron when it was a Heat and Celtics rivalry and Cavs and so. Oh yeah, it was definitely on site. But you grow up and you move on and you study these guys' careers. That's what this last series was about. The Did He Quit? I became just looking over their careers. I experienced with Kobe and LeBron, but not Michael. Of course, I'm not that old. I'm not ancient yet. But I was just very interested in their careers and those specific parts. And I'm like, okay, a 3-pack for those guys would be really awesome because I just see them as titans of the game. And so what team I'm a fan of, it doesn't even matter. I could still appreciate what these guys brought. And so yeah, that's just the other part about death that really fucks with me now is the last few weeks on Twitch doing the Legends League and using Kobe. Me and the chat, we've had so many moments where we've literally created references to Kobe. The whole thing about green bean whenever we green light a shot, and we made the reference to that because Kobe would green a lot of shots and his middle name was Bean, so now we got a green bean emote and everything, and we're doing all this and having such a great time, not even knowing that this guy was just about to leave. And I don't know when I'll ever be able to understand it. I don't know when this will ever not feel weird. Because, again, it's loss and everybody deals with loss differently. And, whether you knew a person or you didn't know a person, like maybe there's some fans out there who saw this news today and just kept going with their day. I can't imagine they were actual. Again, everybody feels different, but I can't imagine anybody who actually grew up with this stuff doesn't feel some type of way today. And I guess the varying levels just depend. And but I definitely did want to get on here and reflect on his career, reflect on a little of what this really says about life. Because if there's any fans out there that have felt some type of way today and they might feel stupid because, oh, I didn't even know this guy, I never actually met this guy, am I weird for feeling this way? Well, no, you're not. I guarantee you, I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. Like, you might really, really feel some type of way, and it's totally justified. These type of things hit everybody differently, and even as I'm about to end this video, I just about to go sit back in front of the TV and see more coverage, and still just sit there with my jaw just dropped to the floor, not able to make any kind of sense of what's happened today. But hey, man, basketball it's a game, but today's shows, it clearly brings us all together. This guy gave us 20 seasons of basketball, was giving us more after basketball, and you see how the communities came together. No matter how much people hated him, his bitter rivals, people he competed against, everyone came together and had emotions. The people that had known him personally, the people that didn't know him personally. And that's what's so beautiful about this game. That's what is so beautiful about basketball. So that's what's so beautiful about sports, man. They're just games, but clearly they're more than just games. And these players, they're more than just players. So appreciate them while they're here, bro. Appreciate them while they're here. We can discuss sports, but all this weird shit that people have been doing in the NBA Twitter era, where it's just like, it just seems like their goal to rip another player down to shreds. That's fucking weird, bro. That's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. He's gone now, but we ain't forget. You gotta appreciate these guys, man. LeBron who knows how many years he has left playing, and he's doing great things for the game, and he might end up the all-time leading scorer. He's still competing for titles. He's been entertaining us, and specifically me now, since what? Like, Jesus, bro, LeBron was in NBA Live 2005. That's like one of the first basketball games I really played. All the way back then, I was a 5th grader. I'm 24 now, and he's still here giving us great basketball, man. Things like that, you just gotta appreciate. I watched Zion just dominate my Celtics today in like 20-something minutes. It's awesome, bro. It's awesome. We might not win this year. Zion might go on to dominate the next few years. Hey, man, whatever. Ja Morant, all these guys, bro. If you really love this game, just appreciate them all. And appreciate everything that you can, because as you see today, life really, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It really doesn't make sense.